And welcome to the Everyday Board Game Podcast with your hosts, Daniel.
And Daniel.
Good morning, Daniel.
It's not morning.
Oh, yeah. No, last week we did film in the morning.
Well, we filmed all the way to the afternoon.
We did. Last week, if you watched us live, you saw that we did 3 episodes back to back. This week, we're planning on doing 2. They are going to be a little bit out of order. You're going to see that this one is going to pop up probably before the one, after the one that we're filming after this, which is before this chronological.
We're filming them out of order, just so everybody knows. It's going to be a little tricky, but we're going to get it all done.
Yeah. Now, the reason for this is because we'd like to post it on the Board Game Revolution forum on Facebook.
Yeah.
Or that group page, not the forum. But we want to give them a little bit of time to vote, and we just kind of posted it fairly recently. But that's fine. We'll get back into that. So if you're watching us live, awesome. You're going to have a great couple episodes that you get to hear. If you're watching us in the past, well, enjoy the episode when it comes out, as you've probably already heard it already.
That's true. So just once again, I want to reiterate, thank you everybody who watches or listens to the podcast. It helps us, especially since as of recording, today is, the 29th?
The 29th of December.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about our 2022 gaming resolutions.
Right.
Which this will air, I'm trying to think, so... Probably
mid-January, give or take.
No, so it'll be the second week of January. Next week will be the how we felt about our most anticipated games of 2021.
Gotcha.
This week, there's going to be a double upload. There's the audio side already up for our gaming goals revisited last week. From last week, it's up today. You're going to get a double upload this week. You're going to get the top 8 debate on Friday, and then next Friday will be the gaming games revisited.
Very cool. And then, of course, for the 2022 anticipated games, we're going to wait till about March or so.
Yeah, we're looking into it. We want to make sure Gamma's going to go off without a hitch.
Yep.
If we think Gamma's going to go off, we'll hold off on it till March after Gamma. If we doesn't look like Gamma's going to go well, or if it's not going to be as big as Gamma used to be, where you got a lot of gaming announcements, we may do it, say, in February or something like that. So. Yep,
that sounds good. Yeah, because we want to definitely be anticipating games that, as our last year's episode proved, still a lot of them are anticipated because we don't have them yet.
And I do have to say once again, I called Frosthaven. I said, everybody was saying it's going to come out in 2021. I'm like, no. As big as that game is, the way the shipping crisis is, we'll be lucky if we get it in 2022.
Right, exactly. And, it just makes sense. Like, I can't imagine why people would back a Kickstarter now not expecting delays.
Games in general. I mean, it took me a while to get my big box for Dune Imperium because there's a shipping thing going on. The containers are really expensive.
Yeah, that I think the shipping, like the estimated shipping dates on Kickstarters, is the second biggest lie in board gaming.
What other than time of play?
Time of play, exactly. Like, how long does it take to play this game? You're a liar.
All right, so this, just so everybody knows, we're going to be talking about our 2022 gaming resolutions on this episode.
Or gaming goals.
Gaming goals, gaming goals is what we're going to call it. I want to kind of ask a question for this one, but I'm going to save it for the top 8 debate because the top 8 debate is going to air before this one.
Okay, sounds good. So, but I have a question for you. How did us revisiting last week's episode or last year's episode change your goals this year?
Not a lot. There is a few things that are kind of coalescent to what I did last year that are worded a little differently and a different way for me to interact with it, just to still try to meet the goals that I already put last year. Other than that, I actually have some really some new ones in here as well as stuff for help growing the podcast too.
Yeah, all 8 of mine are new. I didn't do any of the same ones from last week because of how well that went, clearly. And if you haven't listened to that episode yet, pause this one, go listen to it, because I did terrible as far as the goals go. I think I got maybe 2 out of 8, maybe something like that.
Yeah, I'm like, I could
maybe 3
check
even.
My list.
Yeah, I mean, but I remember how dismally I did. And because of that, I ended up changing mine to be a little less ambitious. Because even stuff that I thought was going to be a shoo-in, some of them I didn't even get to do.
Let's see. I met 3 of them, and one is kind of like a mix.
Yeah. I actually found, speaking of last year's episode, you remember how I did a 10 by 10 with my wife?
Yeah.
Well, I realized I found it. And
Finally.
I found the chart, and I ended up saying, okay, well, I need to update this. And I showed my wife, and she just kind of gave me a look like, oh, yeah, we didn't do very good on that. But I was like, well, some of them are missing because I just lost track or lost the chart.
Yeah.
So I went through and updated it, and there's probably about 12 games that we've played out of the 10 by 10, which is twice as many as I had listed prior.
Yeah.
I only had like 6 games listed.
So that's good.
So
ish.
Like, I mean, we doubled what we had on it, but it's still...
I mean, I can't say anything. My 100, I don't think I'm going to make. I'm just going to be shy, just timing
Shy
and everything.
by how many? Give or take.
I'm going to say probably 10.
Oh, we can fix that. We'll just do
If
that
we
all
got the time today, yeah.
Yeah.
So
We'll be fine.
See,
10 games in one day, it's easy.
Yeah, it says you. It would be 11.
11. Okay. Well,
but
now,
I think
now it's not
I think I can snag some of them just doing solo plays.
Right.
I'm off New Year's Eve, so I could probably do that from the morning to night.
It
doesn't help that I got a video game for Christmas. That was really, really good.
Ooh, nope. Yeah, that doesn't... darn video games, making us procrastinate on our actual gaming goals. How dare they?
Yeah, exactly. And also, just because... I like playing solo, but there's times where I just want a group interaction, or if I'm going to play solo, hey, I got video games, I can take care of that situation too.
Yeah, exactly. It does all the upkeep for you. That's the problem. Like, I'm okay doing the upkeep if there's friendly banter between players. That makes it enjoyable.
All right, so you ready to find out what we've been playing lately?
That sounds good. Shall we bring in the Coin of Doom?
Sounds good to me.
This Coin of Doom is 1995 Denver quarter. Yeah, there you go. Does it matter? No. All right, heads. I will be going first. So my number 8. Actually, before we get into this,
number 8. Yeah, we're doing what we've been playing.
What we've been playing lately. Yeah,
So
I was
your
like, wait a
number
minute.
4.
So my number 8, which is a lie. No, my number 4. I've played this many times before. And I had a friend of mine who asked me, he's like, so Danny, what is your thoughts on Funkoverse? And I said, oh, I like it. And he was like, because I have a chance to get a pretty good deal on it. And he told me something, I want to say probably 12, 15, 16 or 17 of the characters, like through the actual sets.
Oh, okay.
For like $50.
Oh, man, that's not bad at all.
That's a fantastic deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4 packs alone are $40.
Yeah.
At full retail.
Yeah.
So I told him, I was like, well, I think you should jump on it personally, because that's a great deal.
Oh, yeah.
And I brought over my Funkoverse, my giant bin of Funkoverse, which is, I have about 35 characters now. I'm waiting on a couple more to be delivered, because I happen to order a few more. Anyway, so, I like Funkoverse a lot. We played it. He had fun, and yeah, Funkoverse. What were the characters we had? He had Joker and Batman and Sally from Nightmare Before Christmas versus mine, which was Harry Potter. We picked at random. Harry Potter, Jack Skellington, and Dorothy from the Golden Girls.
You let Harry Potter die quickly, didn't you?
He seemed to be a target, like not with my instigation, but he seemed to be a target. But I swear, Dorothy just floored him. Like, I won because Dorothy. I threw her right in the middle of everything.
Okay, which one's Dorothy?
She's the snappy one or the sassy one.
The older, like the mom of the
I don't
Golden Girls?
remember. I've never watched any of the episodes, but
Because I'm trying to remember what the Betty White character's name was.
Yeah, it wasn't
Speaking
Betty
of which,
White.
Betty White should be turning 100 here in a couple weeks.
Wow, that's cool.
At the time of airing this, it'd be closer.
Yeah, right? She is older than sliced bread, officially.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, she has been older than sliced bread.
Yeah, well, I mean, ever since she was born. Right?
Yeah.
I guess that's how science works. Or ever since sliced bread was invented. That's really how to prove that she's been older. But, Dorothy, I don't remember which character she was. Viewers of the show will probably remember it. But, oh my god, I threw her right in the middle, and she just kept, beating up Joker, like punching him in the face,
That seems correct, though.
Yeah, it was not accurate. She was my tank, easily. Harry Potter ran around, Jack Skellington just completed objectives. He's pretty good as a big character, but I was kind of throwing him just to pick up points and area control, and Dorothy just floored him. It was so good.
That's awesome.
It was such a fun time, and And it just reminded me how much I enjoy that game, genuinely. Because what we did to pick our characters, we just reached in the box, pulled out random Funko Pops, and that's our character.
Yeah, I want to like Funko. I think it's a good game. I prefer Unmatched myself just because I like the play style of that. And Prospero Hall did a great job with Funko.
Yep.
I just hate the Pops. I've never been a big fan of Pops, and that's the one thing that just keeps me away from Funko. The main thing. Though I think Funkoverse is a good game. Not a great game, but a good game.
Yeah. It's not great. No. I mean, functionally, it's not that great of a game.
Yeah.
But does that diminish the fun? Absolutely not.
Yeah, and that's the big thing about gaming. It's just if you're having fun, then what does that care? Like Rodney Smith says, and I think that is the greatest line about board gaming and how we can be better in the board gaming community. Don't yuck someone else's yum.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. No, I just love how the dice in that game is what I appreciate about it, because I've seen plenty of combat games that are dice. But they don't do hit points in this, which is huge. That's a really important thing. You either knock them down or knock them out. That's it.
And then they get to come back eventually after a time.
The next round, yeah. And so it's not a big deal. But what makes it so good is the fact that each of the die faces have 3 hits, 2 defenses, shields, and 1 crit, which counts as 3 of whatever you're trying to roll for, which I think that's smart. So that means that if I'm rolling 4 dice against your 2, you could still crit defense, and you can still easily defend it. I think that's a really smart, simple way to do it. It's effective, and it makes the dice. I don't like it as much when you roll your dice and there's like blank sides. It's like, oh well, it's just a nothing. It's a whiff. That's boring.
Yeah.
This, you're always rolling something, but whether defense will be whiffs for me, attacks will be whiffs for you, but you're always rolling something. And it's fun, and it's a very simple, easy way to do it. And the way that the characters do it, that's really where it shines. Every character is super different, and it just works based on the character, and it all makes sense. Like, the Kool-Aid Man breaks down walls,
It is very thematic with the way the characters are used. Yeah. I'll give you that.
Doc Brown flips the cooldown track. Like, that's a simple mechanism, but it's just like, that's brilliant at the same time. So I'm looking forward to it. That was Funkoverse, my number 4.
All right, so my number 4 is one we've talked about a lot on here, and I'm not going to go too much into it, but I just think it's a lovely game. It plays quickly. It is a phenomenal family game by Game Right Games. It's a little card game, and it's actually, you showed it to me, and I've showed it to several people, and everybody's fallen in love with this game. It's Abandon All Artichokes.
Yeah, it's so good.
It is an amazing game. If you haven't...
Emma something, I think that's the designer. Yeah, she's a brilliant. Like, that's just such a smart little game.
It's got great art, very, very cutesy art. What's cool about it is, like, if you get all the artichokes together, because there's 40 of them, because it's 10.
Something like that. Yep.
Yeah, it's 10 per character, so it's 40 of them. You can make a little flip book if you just kind of flip the artichokes. All the faces they make, it turns into a little flip book.
Yeah, it looks like they're having a seizure all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's quite hilarious. And then I love the special powers of each of the different vegetables on there. That this can happen, or you're switching cards to the next person. It's got a interesting game end goal, because the whole point of it is you're just trying to get all the artichokes. You're abandoning all the artichokes in your hand. If you draw up a deck of cards and there isn't a single artichoke in there, you win. Yep. That's it. It is simple. Very easy to teach, very easy to play, because all you do is you pick up a garden card, you play your cards.
Yeah.
That's it. And I think it's a phenomenal game. I have a great time playing it, and it's actually becoming one of my friend's favorite games. She plays it all the time on Board Game Arena.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I hope they come out with a sequel of it. Like 10 more vegetables and that's fully compatible. Can you imagine?
Oh, man, it would be great if you could play like a
Insta-buy for me.
Like a big game of this.
Yes.
Because right now you can only play with 4, but if you get a standalone expansion that adds more vegetables and gives you a whole nother set and have it like an 8-person play game of this, because it plays quickly. You can play it in 20 minutes.
Yeah, easily.
Yeah, so my first game was Abandon All Artichokes.
Cool. My next game is a game that I just got recently. I'm a member of the Button Shy group. It basically is like Board Game of the Month. They send you out board games, and they just recently started catching up. And I got 3 of them in the past couple weeks. And I'm glad I'm able to support small businesses like this. And they hand make all of their games, put them in the wallets, send them out. And at a certain Patreon level, they send you games plus mini games, promos, stuff like that. And it's been a really fun experience, and especially trying new games. And a lot of the Button Shy games are either 1 or 2 player. Sometimes they'll be like more, but mostly they're 1 or 2. And some are hits, some are misses. You know.
You're gonna get that with everything.
Yeah, you're gonna get that with anything, especially when they're making so many, right?
Yeah.
And they created a game called Count of Nine Estates. Now, as much as I appreciate Button Shy's business model, I was very frustrated with this because the rule book is pretty bad.
Okay.
And because there is cards where, so they use 2 terms, the like flip and rotate, because the sides of the cards, you basically put it horizontally. Take that, my phone, haha. You have cards that have 2 different buildings on it, like on the top and the bottom, but on the sides they make 2 different resources. But they're also double-sided cards because they can make different kinds of buildings and stuff. And really only 9 of the cards are the buildings that you're using, but they also have the resources. The thing is, when you use the resource, you tilt the card to show that you've already used that resource. So you just have to like tilt it even though it still takes up a spot in there. Okay. So it's like, okay, but you can't completely rotate it because then, the building would be upright. And so you have to like tilt it slightly, which I think is fiddly. But the problem is, there is times where you have to flip the card. Like if you don't build anything, the middle card that's like the available card, because you could either choose the top card of the discard pile, the middle card, or the top card of the deck. So you have like 3 little piles. The middle card that's available, you flip it onto the discard pile. Well, which way do you flip it? It doesn't specify. Do I flip it horizontally? Do I flip it vertically? Because that does matter.
Yeah.
And so I was flipping it horizontally. Or was I flipping it vertically? I don't know. Like, and there's no diagrams to say one way or the other. So it just says, flip the middle one. It's like, okay. So then I was flipping it a certain way. And then when, at the end of the round, you take all the cards from there, and then you flip them again, and then you have an option to either rotate them, or rotate one, or shuffle them and not rotate them. And I was very confused. It's like, well, but if I've been flipping it this way, that already, like, all of the cards that I couldn't use in the first rounds, since I'm flipping that way, they get flipped again at the end of the round, so I'm right back to not being able to use it. So that's where I'm confused with this. Like, at what point do you flip? And I just thought it was too fiddly at that point, like trying to figure out what it is. I hope that they make like a tutorial video that just clarifies a few things like that, because I know they can't redact the rule book. It's printed already. Yeah. But I feel like I would have liked it if there was a little more clear as to how the flipping, how the rotating, like all that stuff works, and even as simple as like an example of gameplay. They don't have that in the rulebook because it's smaller. It's only like 4 little sheets that's folded.
Yeah, it also because it's like the wallet game, right?
Yeah, exactly. So they had to fit it. I feel like it would have been a cool game, but I was really frustrated with it, and I ended up really disliking it because just of that lack of clarity in the rulebook. So, I mean, if anybody from Button Shy is listening, like that's all I need is just like a quick little video explanation clarifying. What would almost be useful in that instance is I wish that they would put a QR code in the rulebook. Okay. And that way you can link it to like an individual page that says, for like errata, clarification,
or just even just put a
video, whatever,
like a QR code in there. This way you can just have like a bigger way to understand the rules, right? Because I mean they're a limited amount of space what they can do with the rules. So
yeah, exactly, and that's fine. I get
everybody has access to the internet pretty much nowadays at a board gaming because of their phones.
Right, exactly. So that's all I wish I had, and then I would have been able to do it better. But c'est la vie. Count of 9 Estates was kind of a hit miss for me, but hopefully more will be good.
All right, my next game on my list is one, again, we've talked about beforehand. I really enjoyed it. It's a nice little flip and write. And this one is Trails of Tucana.
Yeah, you like this one.
I dig this one a lot. You're basically just making trails. You're trying to connect, get your points. And whoever has the most points at the end of the game wins. I like the fact that you can play the short game, which I think is perfect. Just playing the one side, it's like La Petite or something like that. It's a small island where you only play 2 rounds, you score up, and you're done. And the third one is La Grande or something like that, and it's 3. You play 3 rounds in a sense. You get 3 different scoring times. But no, I find this game phenomenal. It's a good flip and write. I actually picked up a copy after played it, our mutual friend's copy, and he actually another mutual friend of ours, Gamehead Geek, also picked up a copy after playing it because it's that good. We really, really enjoyed it. I know you're okay with it.
I liked it quite a bit, actually.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, the Trails of Chicana, I've only played it once, and that one time I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we had to wrap it up really quick.
Yeah.
So I didn't get the full experience, but I did. Maybe I finished it, but...
Yeah, we finished it.
I felt like I had to rush it. Yeah, but I did enjoy it.
I like the fact that you're building the trails. You're based on the cards where you have to build. You're flipping 2 cards the entire every round or every time you're making a turn, and you have to build a line between the designation. So it could be desert or forest desert or mountain desert, that kind of thing. Yeah. And it also tells you how many cards are in the deck. But the thing is, you don't see one of those cards. Once every card gets flipped, there's just one sitting there, and you know what it is at the end of the thing because it's the thing you need to finish your completion. And no, I have a great time with this. In fact, because of this, Welcome to has been moving down my favorite flip and roll and writes and stuff like that. So Cartographers is still way up there for me.
Right.
This one I like more than Welcome to just because I like the spatialness of it. Trying to figure out how you're going to make your trails, and do I want to connect my A to A because that's going to give me the most points, or do I be careful this way? I can get the bonus points and stuff like that. And I find this one fun just because. With Welcome to, you're just basically putting numbers in a grid and trying to do it as smart as possible. With this one, I have to be very smart how I put my trails out there. This way I can try to get things connected to a home base. This way I can get the points for, say, the obelisk or the Yeti, which is a cat carrying a club. It's so weird. But yeah, just trying to do all that, or trying to get my dragons connected, both of them. This way I can get the bonus and try to get the extra road that I can build. I just love that. And so, yeah, this is moving Welcome to. Welcome to still up there. But it's just a lot of the flipping rights and rolling rights, because I'm one that puts them all together. Yeah. I don't distinguish for flip and rolling right. So
yeah, they're the same thing.
But, yeah, Trails of Tucana, I have a great time with this one.
Absolutely. That's cool. Yeah, I want to play that one again. So my next one, second to last one I'm going to talk about, is one that I got for Christmas. And it's actually the only game that somebody bought me for Christmas that I didn't buy myself, and I actually had never heard of it. And I love my mother-in-law. She cracked me up because she was like my dad, and that they cannot keep a secret at all. And she had heard me talk about legacy style games before. It's like, well, yeah, you tear up components and stuff like this. And she said that when she saw this game, she thought I already had it, and because it uses kind of like a destructive, it's not a legacy game, but you destroy the components.
Okay.
As part of the game, and so she ended up buying me 2 copies of it just in case. Which I'll explain in a minute. But it's a game called Rip Off, and the idea of this game, it's so hilarious. It's blue orange. It just released, I think, last year. You get a $100 bill, a nice big paper sheet of money.
Yeah.
A $100 bill, and you're flipping over cards that represent expenses. So it could be like a boba drink or a moped or like movie tickets, right?
Yeah.
And they're in the middle of the card, and you're not allowed to get too close to those cards, but everybody uses their $100 bill and tears off part of it in order to cover at least 2 of the symbols. You have to cover up 2 of them, but you're trying to save as much money as you can.
Okay.
Because after a series of rounds, whoever has the most money remaining, as in the most area on their bill, has won because they've covered their assets. Yeah, they're more frugal. And what's great is that if you fail to cover at least 2 of the symbols, you have to throw that piece away and try again.
Oh, man.
It's brutal, and it's so fun. It's like, I loved it. The game comes with 200 bills, which is 50 games if you play a 4-player, right?
Yeah.
She got me 2 copies. So I have 400 bills.
So what you're saying is you can play an 8-player game.
Oh, absolutely. You could absolutely play an 8-player game. And it's so brilliant. Like, it's such a simple thing. Like, I'm the kind of person I'd probably play 2 bills, like hand everybody 2 bills, and then you hope for the best with that, you know? Just because it was kind of short, but I think that's the point, Yeah. The more fun you have playing a short game, the more you'll want to play it again.
Yeah, exactly.
And we played a 6-player version of it with my wife's grandma, who's in her 90s, and she thought it was funny,
Yeah.
My kids played it, so we had, an 80-year gap between
Your youngest and oldest player?
Yeah, exactly. And it went over really well, and it was silly.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. That's Rip Off by Blue Orange Games.
And what's hilarious is it came from your mother-in-law.
From my mother-in-law, yeah.
A non-gamer.
A non-gamer, yeah. She saw it, and I had never heard of it. Like that, I've never seen it. That's something that I would totally be interested in. This is now like my third game where you actively destroy component, or that you don't destroy it, but they're used as a function. But they're always like cheap paper stuff.
I know
so it's not
this
even
one
bad.
now because it's called Rip Off. You said, right?
Yeah.
And then the other one is that paper cut game, right?
Clip Cut Parks.
Yeah, and I don't know what the third one is.
Cutterland.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they come with scissors. Yeah, but this one, it makes it interesting because you're not cutting. You're not precise. You're tearing, and there was multiple times where like my kids would be like, "Oops," and then just like tear off like a big old chunk.
Oh man!
It's like, well, you're covering them, but yeah, you spent a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. It was really enjoyable. I wanted to bring that today, but I forgot to do it.
Ah, that's fine. Let's move on to my second to last game here.
Okay.
It's one we played last week right here on Twitch.
Now that you've had a week to think about it, I want to know what your thoughts are.
And this is Let's Dig for Treasure, just for everybody out there. I enjoy it. I think it's a good push your luck game, having fun with it. It's not balanced at all, but honestly...
No. I would even be remiss saying it's good, but that doesn't mean it's not fun.
Actually, I think it was good. I don't think it was a great game. I think it was more on the okay good side.
Yeah.
Because my equivalency of good is, did I have a good time playing it? Yes, I did. There's games that I am miserable playing and don't want to play. Most social deduction games.
Yeah.
But this one, I thought this was on the okay good side, not the good great side.
Yeah.
And I had a great time playing it, or a fun time playing it, right here live, just a 2-player game. I could just imagine the shenanigans when it's more than 2 people. I do want to try the other games in this line. I want to try this one, and there's the other one. I can't think of it. It's like Let's Do a Seance or something like that.
Yeah, there's Don't Talk to Strangers, Let's Do a Seance, and Let's Dig
for Treasure. I want to do Let's Do a Seance because I heard really good things about that one.
It's like a new version of Machikoro.
Yeah. It says it does like space-based Machikoro kind of stuff, and I'm like, I want to play that just because it sounds interesting. I did enjoy Let's Dig for Treasures. I'll probably see if I can find the collection of all 3 of them.
Yep.
Just to have in my collection, even though one of them I heard is not all that great.
Yeah,
Let's Dig for Treasure is not a great game, but it's still fun. So. Right. But yeah, so Let's Dig for Treasure was the second to last game for me.
Cool. And my last one is not even on my playlist because I haven't finished it yet. And I bought it thinking it was something other than what it was. So it's called Cantaloupe. And it's
Cantaloupe?
Cantaloupe.
Cantaloupe?
Cantaloupe.
Cantaloupe?
Cantaloupe.
Cantaloupe, okay.
Cantaloupe, yeah, it's actually L-O-O-P. Yeah. Cantaloupe.
Yeah.
I don't know why. But yeah, it's basically a board game version of a point and click video game. Okay,
so basically adventure.
No, it's different than that. So you don't have an overall map. In fact, you actually have it's way more inspired by point and clicks because there is multiple times where you are going to different locations and you have a big book is what it's made of.
Okay.
And when you go to a location, it might tell you to take a certain card, which is the items that you would gather. And when you have certain items, then you go talk to different people. And it actually has a really smart system where you have what's called like a trigger log.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically like a 10 by 10 grid or like 9 by 9 or so. And it'll say like, oh, well, you found this item. Like mark off H2 and take card 30. I'm just making something up. So you take card 30, that's what it is. But H2, that's important because if you're talking to somebody... And you're talking to them and they're like, no, I'm not going to let you do this for whatever reason. It's like, but if you have H2 marked, you then read this part.
Yeah.
And then you read that, it's like, oh, well, now that you have this, sure, yeah. And it unlocks different things. And what's great about this game, what makes it so good, is that it knows that it's ridiculous. It plays into that fact. There's been... multiple times where I legitimately laughed out loud, and I'm playing by myself and just doing this.
Yeah.
Like there was one, and I don't want to give spoilers, but there was something I was like, this sounds ridiculous, but it slightly referenced it it referenced it and I did something that was like overly obvious. It's like, yeah, this seems obvious, but I don't know what it'll do, but I'm going to try it anyway. And I combined 2 items and tested it, and it was like, oh, well, it's like this confirmed my suspicion that these pieces act like this. No wonder. Take card, blah, blah, blah. And I drew it, and it said, you're a scientist. And he's mocking me. It's like, you achieved this because you did something either really smart / dumb. And I was like, that's amazing. It doesn't affect the game at all, but it's just like, it's self-referential.
It's just calling you out.
And there was even like one part where it's like, huh, that's like, you look at something, and it says, oh, that's weird. Like it's suddenly nighttime in the game. This game designer must be an idiot. It's like, why would you do this? And it's so funny. It's so good. The story is intriguing. I've already been playing it for probably about 4 or 5 hours, and and it's a 1+ player, and it says anywhere from 5 to 8 hours is the total experience.
Yeah,
there was a couple parts that was a little weird, but they have a really good help system. And doing it, and I've enjoyed the mess out of it. That's Cantaloupe. And I thought it was a Friedemann Friese game, which is why I bought it. But it's by Friedemann something else. Friedman or something like that. But it had almost the same, and it's almost the same art. But I was like, it's not green enough. It doesn't start with F. So
does it have a horrible cover?
No, I don't think the cover's that bad.
Then it's not a Friedemann Friese game,
right? Exactly. But at first I thought it was, and I was like, okay, I'll buy it. And I found it on a good deal, so pick it up. And I was a little disappointed when I found out, oh, wait, this isn't Friedemann Friese. Because it sounds like something he would do.
Yeah.
But I've been playing it and just
loving
the mess
you're
out of
saying it sounds like something Friedemann Friese would do. I don't want to touch it.
No. I mean, it's just because it's so off the wall. Like, it does it really well.
Speaking of Friedemann Friese, we found out just recently last year, or in 2021, that there was 2 Friedemann Friese games I like now.
That's right. Yeah.
Fast
Sloths was really fun.
Yeah. I can't remember what the other one is, but if you list the name, I might be able to tell you.
It was like one of his smaller ones.
Yeah.
I would have to look into it. Friday? Was it? No, you never played Friday.
I never played Friday. I didn't like Fear.
Yeah, you didn't like any of like the...
I didn't like Futuretopia either.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to figure that out, but yeah, there was definitely 2, at least. But that was mine. Cantaloupe. That was what I've been playing lately.
My number 1 game, or the one I'm going to talk about now, my last game, is something that we've played before, and I remember it just because of a buddy of ours would say, "Hey, I can make so much letter words," and it was basically an
expletive.
expletive. Yep. And it was something that popped up in my mind. I was like,
but that was one of the most creative clues. Yeah. There was no way anybody walked away from that not knowing their letter.
Yeah,
you knew what it was.
Yeah, so I got a copy of it later, somewhere down the line. I was able to get it pretty cheap. Actually, I think it was on one of the Barnes & Noble's clearance sales. I got it for like $7.
Good deal.
Yeah, so I couldn't complain on it. I picked it up, and I was thinking, because there's that group that I always talk about, our couple friends that we get together with, and they really like hardback spelling game and stuff like that, because they're both readers. And so I was like, okay, let me try this one, a word cooperative game. Let's see how this goes down. We lost miserably the 2 times we played it, because we played it over our little Christmas get together before Christmas, and we had such a great time with it. It's just, I'm surprised how bad we did. Even though we clued into each other, it was like one of the lower scores. I didn't keep the track of the score. I just know if we didn't make a certain amount of points, it was a win or a loss. And so I just gave us 2 losses because, in fact, in our first game, I always give that a flub because it's a learning game.
Right.
But we had a great time playing it. They're like, okay, now that we figure this out, let's play it again. And we both did. Everybody did misering. I misspelled a word just because I spelled poison, but I misspelled or flipped the I and the S. And that was on me. I was like, I can't remember. And so someone thought it was potion rather than...
I see.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so, had a great time playing it, though. We really enjoyed it. It's something that probably go into our rotation if we want something other than just one or other stuff like that, because we play just one a lot. But Letter Jam, another great, quick, simple game. Co-op spelling game. If you didn't think would be that good, but it is.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. Good deal. So... now, we are going to go into our discussion topic. We've been playing some good games. I'm surprised we were able to talk about that many, even though it's just been a week.
Yeah.
Our topic this week was we wanted to revisit our 2022 gaming goals, or not revisit, but
but
because
set
we revisited.
set our 2022 gaming goals.
Exactly. So this was definitely a different list for me. I thought when I was about to write this list that it was going to be incredibly difficult. So I knew I wanted to be fairly different than last year.
Yeah, same with me.
And when I sat down to write it, I was like, okay, this would be a good one, this would be a good one. And before I knew it, I had 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fast.
My number
easy.
3 was the last one, because I was like, okay, I know my number 1 and 2. And then I was going like, okay, what's here? My number 3 was the hardest one for me to do. Mm-hmm. But it really wasn't.
And no, we should clarify. The reason we pick 8 is just so it aligns with our top 8 debates. 8 is kind of our thing.
Yep.
And so we pick 8 gaming goals. So realistically, we probably won't finish all of these, but that would be great if we did.
Yeah.
Get it? Great. 8. Sorry. I apologize. I'm here all week. Those of our
I got my
listeners.
lightsaber back there. I can meet you with that.
Yeah, those of our audio listeners, he has already threatened me non-verbally. So let's. Do we have anything to say other than jumping right into it?
So there are some that are kind of the same, but not compared to last year. I just kind of fine-tuned it, basically.
Okay.
But it's mostly drastically different, other than my number 8, which is exactly the same as one of my other ones.
Okay.
And it's just because it's something I always set for myself.
Cool. Yeah, I think my number 8 is similar as well, but I have clarification why.
Yeah.
So, shall we begin? We'll do this each round?
Yep.
All right, let's find out. So, you'll lead us off.
So, speaking of my number 8 being the same, it also was my number 8 in 2021. I didn't meet that goal, but I'm going to try harder to do it this year in 2022. Yeah. And that's to play 100 new games to me or my app. If it's not in my app, that's when I count it. I use BG Stats on my phone just to help me track everything, what gets played, how I played it, how many times I've played it, that sort of stuff. So for me, I want to do 100 new games that are new to me or the app. This way, it allows me to see what I like, and trust me, it goes along with another one on my list here later on. Okay. But like I said, I'm not going to go too much into it. It's the same thing as last year. I just want to play 100 new games and see what I like and what I don't like.
Cool deal. Yeah. Now, also, how did you put these in order? Did you put them in a specific order? Or?
Not really a specific order, except for my top 2. Those are the first ones I thought about, and I think those ones are the most important
for
me.
Goals.
Yeah,
that's kind of how I did it as well. My number 8 is the one that's similar to last year's, and that I want to remake my game room. And specifically, last year it was I want to clean my game room, which I did, and then it since has become trash since then. But specifically, ever since the downfall of one of my shelves, quite literally collapsing, I decided that these metal shelves that we have filming behind us, that's probably the way I'm going to go. And
each
which
shelf
is going to be expensive
holds 300 pounds.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, like I said, if you get this size ones, that'll be a little pricey, but they have like the smaller shelves that are kind of like yours, and you can just buy them because I think those ones are like $50 a pop. So if you just keep replacing shelf by shelf, yeah,
and it's going to be better than the Walmart shelves, and I could probably sell those at a garage sale. Not too expensive. But it's just that was frightening. And then also I built brackets that were behind my door, and those have broken also. So it's just like, I'm not a great builder. Yeah. But all I really needed to do to solve the problem was to find a way to attach the shelves to the wall, which those plastic shelves are impossible to do that with. And I've tried a lot of solutions, and it's just, at that point, I need to get good shelves.
And for our audio listeners, as well as those who are new to the podcast, normally we used to record, because it was during the pandemic, through Zoom. And if you notice on his background, they were plastic shelves that you can get them for like $20 at Walmart or something like that.
Walmart shelves.
And they were like half the size of mine.
Yep.
About as tall, but it was plastic. And they looked fine. They looked great, but they didn't hold the weight that you would want. And so
I had an unstable floor.
You could also go back and watch some of our older videos on YouTube, and you could see what type of shelvings we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's my goal, is I want to remake or revamp my game room and get it cleaned up and tear out that ugly old carpet from the 70s. And
that goes under your wall.
Yeah, that goes under my wall because that was built correctly. It's so ridiculous. So that's my goal. So
okay, I get you on that one.
Yeah.
And so my number 7 is actually one of the couple things that are about the podcast in a sense. And that is just my goal is to get... sorry.
In a sense.
Oh, wait, so we're doing... Oh, no, you got to flip it.
Flip it. Yeah, but I meant in a sense.
Yeah.
Quarter. Anyway.
I was just jumping on it. Hey, I'm still starting anyway.
Yep, number
7. And that is to get better at my editing for the video and audio side. I think I've gotten pretty decent on the audio side. I want to learn some more tricks on that.
Yeah.
But on the video editing, I'm learning a little bit more and more as I go along. It didn't help that we took a very long hiatus because of family situations and just everything. And so I want to get better at it. I want to make it more pleasing to the eye, I guess you could say, for the video side of it. Okay. Mind you, on YouTube, normally you're not supposed to have like hour-long videos, but I leave the podcast uncut. I just put it up there.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, if we don't grow on YouTube, it's fine. I want to, and you can help us grow on there. But I just want to get better at the editing. I want to be able to draw people in just with like our thumbnails and stuff like that. That's the next thing I want to learn is how to figure out thumbnails. But again, my number 8 or my 7 goal is to get better at the editing for videos as well as audio side.
But you were showing me some of the changes that you've been doing.
Yeah.
Like, and I like it. You know, it's getting better and better every time.
Better transitions.
Better transitions. Yeah, you're doing a good job. So keep up the good work, sir.
Also, want to change our logo for year 3.
Yeah,
that's one of the other things. Part of this is that not even on a goal. I just kind of want to get like a better logo for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. All right, my number 7 is something that I've been struggling with lately, and I have methods that I'm going to approach it with. I'm going to reduce my game collection. I'm going to try and bring the numbers down a lot because I have a lot that I've had for like different collections for different reasons.
Yeah.
You know, like. I collect like the 3M bookshelf games. Like those are probably not going to go anywhere. I have all the Spiel des Jahres winners. You know, and I'm gonna.
It's like me. I have all the Stonemeyers, and that's not going to stop anytime soon.
No, it's definitely not. So I have a couple of methods. What I'm going to do is I'm going to first like put down exceptions, like games that I'm not going to get rid of for one reason or another. Like part of those collections, those are ones.
So about half your.
Right. Well, maybe like a tenth, right? And then after that, I'm going to pick. Like some of my favorite games, like my top 100, that's almost definitely going to stay. But what I'm going to have to start forcing myself, and I found this out the other day, we normally go to like take trips and do mass trade-ins.
Yeah.
And so I started looking through some of my shelves, and I looked at one game, I was like, I wonder if I want to keep this or not. And then I thought, what's the one thing I need to ask myself to figure out if it's something I need to keep or let go? And I thought of a good way to do it is... would somebody like this game better than me? And that sounds weird, like at first, but it's like
no, yeah.
Like would you guys like it better than me? Like, am I keeping this for you, or am I keeping this because nobody's gonna like this game better than myself? And really, the ones where I'm like I love this game, like you're not gonna tell me like, oh, people are gonna like Carcassonne better than me. No, you're not gonna. So I'm keeping Carcassonne.
Oh yeah.
But like all those games like that, if I can honestly tell you, it's like there's people who would like this better, then I shouldn't get rid of it.
I'm gonna ask a question about Carcassonne.
Yeah.
Since you got the 20th edition, are you gonna keep your other Carcassonne?
Yes.
Because it has all the expansions.
Yes.
That's what I figured.
Yeah, it's all compatible, and yeah, I mean it's that the 20th edition is probably the one that I'm gonna be bringing out more.
Okay, yeah.
Just because it's easier than bringing out a bunch of those, but yeah, that's one thing that I really need to go with is if I think that somebody would honestly like the game better than me, whether I know who that person is or not, then that gives me a reason to get rid of it. There's no reason I need to keep it if somebody else is gonna like it more, and that way, because that was the only way like I was comfortable with it before is it's like, oh well, if I trade a game to you, it's still in my game group, you know.
Yeah.
You liked it a lot more than I did.
Yeah, exactly.
So I want somebody who's going to like it.
Case of play, what is it? Where is it?
Yeah, I've given you a few games.
There it is. It's right behind you. It's Medieval Academy. I really like that one. So.
Yeah, and I thought it was okay. But that makes perfect sense. It's like, well, Daniel likes it better than me. Yeah, I'm fine with getting rid of it because it's going to a place where it's loved, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
And so that's my goal is I want to reduce my my collection by at least a couple hundred games.
And that was your number 7, correct?
That was my number 7. Even.
Alrighty, so want to say quickly that welcome back, Illuminous.
Yeah, thank you.
Having a great time here. And he was talking about like he has a hoarding problem. He likes all the board games he has and never wants to get rid of them. I was just explaining that we have to call from time to time. For the longest time, I only had these 2 shelves. Now I have a whole closet I can store stuff in, a garage now.
Yeah. And here's the thing. Like, I don't know how many the last count was, but for some reason, I think it's like over 1,000.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I have a significant amount. And it's not that I don't like any of the ones I'm trading in. I've probably enjoyed them quite a bit.
Yeah.
But if I'm not going to play them again, or if somebody else is going to like them more than me, it's like, oh, yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Why can't I just play it when I see it next time?
And with everything that we're talking about today, and just there's a caveat, there's an exception to the rule. I doubt you're going to get rid of any of your Stefan Feld games.
No, I love those. Like,
even though both of you...
That's the same thing. You can't tell me that somebody's going to like these more than I, because I love those games.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's an easy pick. But, like, I already know one that I'm going to take off my shelf. Tukey by Next Move Games. Okay. I like a lot of the Next Move games, and that's why I bought Tukey. Will somebody like it better than me? Probably. I've had other dexterity games. It does some cool stuff, but
yeah, exactly.
If I'm at a convention and somebody wants to play it, then yeah, sure, I'll play it. I don't need it in my collection to do it. So stuff like that. That's what I'm going to go with, and I'll probably be trading in quite a few games next time. That's my number 7.
If we do a trade-in, make sure you save room for the rest of us. Unlike last time,
I cannot guarantee that. You might have to have your games on your lap. All right, number 6. That was a head, so it goes to me. This is the only one that I really focused on for the podcast, and one of my favorite things that we've ever done in our podcast is our board game breakdowns.
Yeah.
I love that. I want to do more interviews. I'm going to start reaching out, finding people designers, publishers, all those people that are in the industry, that are involved with the games, and we want to do more interviews and talk with them and get them on our show and get them talking about the games.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I'm straight up calling you out, Phil Walker Harding. I'm going to reach out to you as soon as I can, and because I want him to be part of our show, because
you want to pick his mind.
I want to pick his brain, as far as the designs go. But really, I just want us to talk about all of his games. A good excuse, right? Because he's one of the few breakdowns that we haven't invited.
Yeah, we broke down his games, I think. We just haven't talked to him,
Exactly. So that's like stuff like that. I want to get more people on our show. Smaller designers, too. I want to get smaller publishers.
Smaller publishers would be pretty good.
Get them talking about their games, all the stuff that they're publishing.
Because I think one of the first ones we ever talked to was Level 99, and that was just amazing.
Yeah, they're great guys over there, right?
Or Smirk and Dagger, too.
And Smirk and Dagger, absolutely. And that just rehashes how much I enjoy them as people, how much I like talking to them. But then we've had surprises with, like, Keith from... Thunderworks, or Jamie Stegmaier. We've never met them before, but when we got a chance to talk with them, genuinely awesome people. Yeah. And that's what I want more interviews, because that was always some of our favorite episodes.
And because of Jamie Stegmaier giving us a shout out, that's still one of our best YouTube videos.
That's right. Thank you again, Jamie, and of course Kurt, Justin from Fireside,
John DeClaire.
Yeah, everybody who's ever been on our show, thank you again, and that's why we want to keep going.
Oh, I think Kurt Covert would actually like that. Illuminous is saying one of his favorite games from them was Nevermore.
Oh, yeah. Give Smirk and Dagger a shout out, because Nevermore is a really fantastic game.
It's a smart game, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
All right, so my number 6 is more of a, not really a personal one. I miss it. Mm-hmm. And that's getting back to a con. At least one convention. This year, we've missed them for. I think the last con I went to was in 2019.
Yeah, my last one was Origins.
Yeah, our last one was the local one.
That's right.
That was in October, and that was the last one I've gone to, and that was in 2019. Even if we go to a local one again, that's really small. I just want to get back to a convention. I miss it. I miss having a good time, even if we're teaching your games. It's still a great time. In fact, I could dig that knife because I sold one of your games.
You do. You do help.
So we have a good time. The only one that I know you keep trying to get me to go to, it's just it's not possible because of the time it goes into. It's the one that's about a few hours away in Tucson. That's around the same time as my wife's birthday, so
which is
it's
makes
hard.
Perfect sense.
But yeah, I would like to try to get back to a convention, even if it's a small local one. It'd be nice to go to one of the bigger ones, but also I'm intimidated by some of the bigger ones too. But Absolutely. It would just be nice to get to one.
Do you mind if I take the lead on the number 5?
Yeah.
My number 5 is I want to go to a convention. That's why I had to do this, because I 100% what you said. Yes, I will make it to a convention at some point this year. I have a few. More than one would be great, but yeah, I miss it. Even small conventions, just get around, show off some of my games, hang out, play some new stuff.
Try to win board games. I actually won my copy of Thanos Rising at a convention. So
yeah, and that was a well win, you know.
Oh yeah, I had a great time. Just played it the one time, had a good time with it, ended up winning it.
Yeah, my Sword Crafters game. Yeah, same thing. It's so fun.
I didn't get to play the Sword Crafter game because I was teaching you some of your games.
Yeah, it was worth it. I appreciate you taking the hit for me, but yeah, it was so worth it. Sword Crafters was cool.
Yeah, so going back to a convention for my number 6 and your number 5.
My number 5.
All right, so my number 5 again is kind of podcast adjacent.
Okay.
And that is finishing up this room. I want to get better insulation for soundproofing on the walls because I know it's a little echoey at times. Better lighting is one of the other things that I want to get because right now we just got jerry-rig lights up here. That's why we kind of look a little washed out. Mm-hmm. Just try to make it a little bit more professional. We got the mic situation set up. We could like to set it up where it sounds a little better, and that also is with the soundproofing.
Yeah.
And so we're going to try
a big barrier between us so the sound doesn't wash between.
Another thing is I'm going to put a couple other monitors here because I have a good employee discount that allows me to get decent monitors. So
fancy.
But so that's going to just help out in general and just to try to grow everything better, help again, that goes along with my editing, make it where it makes my editing easier as well as making recording easier. Maybe set up the desk here and to maybe go more into a caddy like an arrow shape. This way we get more of the boards behind us rather than kind of to the side of us.
Right.
Just to angle it better and just get it figured out as best we can. That's my number 5 is just to finish up this room.
Cool. My number 5 is...
You already said it.
My potential number 4. Let's see.
That's
Your
me.
number 4 is...
My number 4 is... This one is a personal goal of mine. And I mean, this is my gaming goals, but this is something that is in my collection. I want to whittle down my shelf of shame over here. These 2 shelves right here, or opportunity, depends on who you are. I want to get it down. I'm still going to buy more games, but I actually want to knock a lot of these games off my shelf of shame because they've been up there for quite a while. Some of them, anyways. Probably Fury of Dracula has been up there the longest. As well as BIOS. Yeah. I've been trying to get it played. It's just, it's a long game. And sometimes when you're, especially the way we've had to do game nights when we can do game nights, is we're trying to get as much games in as possible. So if that's a 3-hour game, we're not going to be able to get other games in. So it just hasn't hit the table for that reason. And it's all partially because of the pandemic, honestly.
Yep.
No, mine is not 2nd edition. I have 3rd edition, which was the last one from Fantasy Flight.
No.
But yeah, just get more games off my shelf of shame. Because as you can see, I got the new Role Player Adventures I want to get off. Mm-hmm. As well as I still have Coimbra that's sitting up there. Even if I got to play them solo, it'd be nice just to get them off my shelf.
Right. My number 4 is a pretty obtainable one. But it goes into... I have 3 of them pending and potentially more. I want to complete another Legacy game. It's very simple. Between our groups alone, we have 2 that are still pending that we haven't played because of the lockdowns that we started prior to those.
Yeah.
I would love to complete one of those, but even just any. I just recently bought a new Legacy game for another group that I play with that we had played all through the Pandemic Legacy Season 0.
Okay.
And I just picked up Clank Legacy because I want to try that. You
know?
And I've heard it's really good, and it's...
I know our mutual friend has it that we always talk about.
Right.
We're already in...
You and I, with other players, are in Rise of Queensdale and Risk Legacy. And I think those are the only 2, because we did have Betrayal Legacy, but we did complete that one. Yeah, and so I just want to play another Legacy game and make it through. And a similar thing will be later on my list, but that's my number 4.
All right, so...
Number 3, Coin of Doom. I will start off. All right, and to answer your question, Illuminous, I don't consider Gloomhaven a Legacy game because...
It's a campaign style, and Legacies can be campaign. But the difference between a Gloomhaven and a Legacy game is Legacy games do destroy components. Gloomhaven, you just take components out of the game, but you can reset it to play again.
Right, and also to add more to that is that Yeah, it's Gloomhaven. You're allowed to rewind it. I think that's the biggest thing. Is that
true? If you fell a
the
scenario,
difference between legacy and campaign, I feel, is the ability to rewind.
also with Gloomhaven, there is a way you can make it a legacy game. It is a variant officially in the rules, is where you play permadeath. So if your character dies, kind of like in Dungeons and Dragons, then you could play the same character. You just have to come up with a new name, and you have to start at wherever your levels are.
Right.
That is a variant, not something that is part of the game itself. You just can choose to do it.
And I don't feel like, and I may be wrong, like I know the way you upgrade your characters affects your abilities, but I don't think it changes the storyline necessarily. Like Gloomhaven is going to have effectively
the same storyline.
Yeah.
Your choices are going to affect the storylines because something's open, something's closed.
Right, but I still don't think that functionally, like, it doesn't permanently alter the capabilities of what you can do in Gloomhaven. That just really determines what order you do them in, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
In a way. So.
And the thing is, even if you finish the campaign, you could still go back and play different scenarios that you haven't played or things that were closed off. You could do random scenarios. You can't really do stuff like that in a legacy game.
Right.
Once you finish the legacy game, you can play the final round over and over again, but even then... Now, mind you, there are some new legacies games. Charterstones, I think, was the first one that did it, and I think Machikoro Legacy.
Yeah.
That you could keep playing. You'll have a different version of the game to somebody else, possibly, but it's still, once you're done, you have your own final version of the game that you can play over and over again as a base game.
You've told the story.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So my number 3.
Do another legacy.
It's similar to that. It's a campaign game.
Oh, okay.
That me and my game group started in 2015. And we need to finish it.
Time Stories.
Time Stories. I want to finish Time Stories. We are halfway through the last scenario, and we were halfway through the last scenario prior to the lockdowns in 2020. And there's a lot of different reasons, and very fair reasons why we haven't finished it yet. But that needs to be done. And I want to close that chapter in my gaming because I still have that game sitting there set up, ready to go for when we eventually get it back to the table. So my game group, we meet fairly regularly, and the next time that all 4 of us, the 4 people that were part of it, I'm going to heavily push it because I want to complete it. Not to get it over with and be done with it, but I want to see how it ends and how it wraps up, and then that way we can finally have that, okay, now what do we do now? Instead of it kind of looming always in the shadows.
My issue with it is that I'm in the same boat as you. I've played Time Stories. I'm just going to go ahead and say I'm canceling it for my purposes. I could restart it because I have the several expansions.
Yeah.
I'll probably restart it and just play through it from the 3rd on and just get like a new player in there because that gaming group that was playing it kind of broke apart.
Right.
And so it'd just be hard for us to actually play it again. So
it's difficult.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's one of the things is like my game group, we still all meet, It's been almost the same person. We have changed somebody out and around the 3rd scenario. Okay. But that was in 2016, 2017?
Yeah.
That was 4 or 5 years ago now. So that's not an insignificant amount of time that we've invested into this. This is now 7 years later when it first released.
You still haven't
now,
finished.
I probably got it 6 years ago. Like when it first came to North America, I think it was 2020 or 2016. But still, I mean, the fact that we haven't completed this game and it's been done for a few years, we need to finish it.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I do want to try to finish it, but like I said, I'm just considering that one canceled for me. I mean, it's sitting right there.
It's more, not to discredit your intent, but I'm on halfway through the last chapter they've ever made. That's like reading a really good book and then it's like, oh, I'm at the last chapter. I'll pick it up later, and then you lose the book, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You don't find it again. Watching a good movie trilogy, and then just oh no, they canceled the 3rd movie. It's like, well, I need the closure.
Yeah, no, I get you on that. It's interesting to me. So we're on number 3, correct?
Number 3.
All right, so moving on to my number 3, and this one goes kind of to what I've had in 2021, and this is just to interact in the wider community of gaming, whether it be welcoming, going to game nights at the shop. It's just that's game nights at the shop are kind of hard for me right now because I go back to work on Sunday.
Yeah.
And so I'm getting prepared to get ready for work and stuff like that the night before. And the shop only does it on Saturdays. So it's iffy, but like
tricky.
Also at cons being more welcoming, or just on Board Game Revolution or any of the multiple gaming platforms I am on Facebook or on Twitter, just interact more, just grow us through social media as well. As like I was mentioning, I was talking to Thomas Covert, who runs the Board Game Revolution website, and he was asking about what our podcast was and what's its name and stuff like that. So I was just explaining to him, this is what we do. We're just coming back from hiatus and stuff like that. And I want to do more of that in 2022. I want to interact. If someone asks a question on one of the sites that I want to answer. If someone's saying, hey, what's a good... I just remember this question the other day, but I couldn't answer it because I was at work. I just saw it. And they're like, hey, what's a good worker placement that that isn't fantasy driven, because they played Lords of Waterdeep and that person's significant other really enjoyed the mechanism of the game, but they didn't like the theme of it. And my thought first off went to viticulture. And so I saw what other people were posting. I'm like, well, I don't have to put viticulture on there while I'm at work, just because I thought that was going to be my answer anyways, because it's something different. It's not something you see in a lot of worker placement games and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that was my number 3. It's just to be more interactive with the community in a wider aspect.
Right. Absolutely. Good. Number 2. I'll be starting us off.
All right.
Mine is a crossover.
Hold on, real quick. Let me start off number 2 because it goes with something you've already said.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
My number 2 is finishing up most of the campaigns that I am in.
I swear we did not plan this.
Start a legacy. I want to finish up the legacies that I'm already in. I'm not afraid to starting a new legacy. That's fine. I got Machikoro Legacy that I would like to get started up. But I'm just on alone telling you like my campaigns or legacy games that I'm in. I'm in Gloomhaven, Charterstone, Risk Legacy, Rise of Queensdale, and Pandemic Legacy Season 0 as of right now.
Yeah.
And that's with me canceling Time Stories.
Right. That's true.
So, yeah, I want to finish these up. Gloomhaven, I have a good chance of doing it pretty soon-ish. I don't know how much more we have of like the campaign style of the game. Right. I'm having a great time. That was basically the most played game I had in 2021.
Yeah, and I feel like Rise of Queensdale, we have a decent shot of it.
Yeah, it's getting close.
Which one had more players? Was it Rise of Queensdale? Or
Rise of Queensdale had the full 4, I think, because only 1 to 4 players.
Risk Legacy was just 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then that's probably more likely.
More likely, but I still got to get Charterstone finished. Also, I have a good chance of finishing Pandemic Legacy Season 0. I'm playing that with a 2-player game with our friend Gamehead Geek. And we're having a good time. We're already going into March. Yeah. So we're already going into the 3rd play of the game. So I can't complain. I think I'm going to finish them up, but I just want to finish the ones I've already started to get the story, because I miss playing Rise of Queensdale and stuff like that.
Yeah, I do too. It feels like we have to relearn it every time we play it.
Yeah, because it takes so long, especially... And because I think the big part of it is the pandemic. We were playing it pretty consistently whenever we can get the full contingent to play it. Yep. It's just that the pandemic, once that happened, we'd only do gaming once a month, and we were just trying to get so many games in. We do like a 12-hour session, try to get 8 games in that 12 hours.
Right.
So, yeah, that's just my number 2 is finishing up the campaigns I'm in.
So my number 2 is a callback to one of yours, but it's definitely my most ambitious of my entire list. It's not the most important, but it is the most ambitious. I want to empty out my Shelf of Shame again.
Okay.
I want to play every game that I own, and have not every game that I own again, but I mean I want to bring it to 0. I don't want there to be a Shelf of Shame anymore. I want to know whether I want to keep the game or not because I've played it, and that is right now currently somewhere between 80 to 90 games, which is doable in a year. It's very doable.
I have too many to count right now.
Yeah, that's the thing. So I'm now working with
partials down there too.
Yeah, I'm now working with different players.
Yeah,
and trying to find out any games that I have on my Shelf of Shame that's a crossover with something that they've already played that they can teach me. That makes it nice and easy. Mm-hmm. Or if there's games that 2 players have as Shelf of Shame, that's a big incentive. Are there any on your Shelf of Shame that I own as well? That's on my Shelf of Shame. I think there's a few.
You can look up there, and there's a couple down there.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, I have Discovery Lands Unknown also. So that's a great excuse for me to do that. There's a few others up there. That might be the only one that you and I both have. But I am perfectly fine with like teaching you how to play Cloud City, Last Defense, Space Invaders, Sushi Roll. Like I own all of those. I'll happily play those if you teach me some of the games that I have on my shelf, right?
Yeah.
And that's a win-win for everybody because
because I think the one you're thinking about is Pendulum.
Pendulum, yeah, exactly. That's the one that we both have on our shelf of shame.
No, mine's not on my shelf of shame. I actually played it.
You played the one player, right?
Hey, it counts.
It does. I don't discredit that because I've done that with a few of mine. But wouldn't it be great to try multiplayer though?
Oh yeah. Especially because of the timing. Because it's you have to play the timing in solo.
Yep.
And when you're learning the multiplayer game in Pendulum, you can actually play the first round on time, basically. Yeah, just to see how it goes.
Yeah.
And then you can start up the the time setting.
Exactly. No, that's my goal. Is I want to empty my, and I had done it a couple of years ago.
Oh yeah, no, I remember because I was over there playing a lot of your Shelf of Shame that summer, and you forced your kids to play.
Yep. That was definitely, that was my goal, and I succeeded at one point. And now, granted, I had brought it to 0, and then I think I got some more games by the end of the year, like for Christmas or something.
Not even by the end of the year.
Yeah, but there was a point where I had zero games.
Yeah. And the thing is, with like when I put it on my list, is because before the pandemic, I had only 3 games on my Shelf of Shame. The one I was talking about. Let's see, I can actually name Furia Dracula, BioShock Infinite, and I think I got the other one that was on the shelf finally off my Shelf of Shame, and I don't know where it's at yet, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my goal. It's very ambitious. My number 2, I want to clear out my Shelf of Shame.
All right, moving on to number 1. And you're starting.
My last one is also very similar to your number 2 or 3.
2 is finishing up most of the campaigns I'm in, and 3 is interacting with the.
I want to expand the inclusivity of games in everything I do in board games. Like I basically stole this from your last year's list, but I completely agree with it. Of course, with the game nights, I'm noticing very different players than we've had last time. I want every single person in there to feel as comfortable as they can be when they come and join the game, and I want to be that face that helps them. Look, come on in. I'm going to be the friendly person that you meet at first, but then I want you to be part of this community if you're willing to do it. I want it to be to the point where non-gamers could walk in and know that I'm there for them. To if they sit down, they're like, hey, can we just try a game? Sure, let me help you, And I'll teach them a game. Like, you don't have to be regulars if you don't want to be, but know that you are always welcome. And I want that to be a thing. And then same with my game designs. I want it to be almost anybody can pick them up and play them. I don't want there to be like a hard learning curve or like divisive things in it. I want there to be just a lot of opportunity for anybody to feel comfortable coming into my game group. And so that's my goal, is I'm planning on being more welcoming.
And that sounds good. That's a great goal. That's always going to be a goal for mine. I just didn't want to put it on the list, but I agree with you wholeheartedly.
But there's no way to like quantify it or measure it, right? Yeah. It's just knowing that that's always in the back of my mind, and that's something I want them to do. Yeah,
no, I get you. All right, moving on to mine, number 1. And this one is really important for me because I've missed it. And that is restarting our game group. And it goes hand in hand with our campaign style games. We were meeting at minimum once a week. Yeah. If we can't do once a week, that's fine. We could do twice a month. That works for me too. I just kind of want to restart it. I miss it. I miss playing big groups of games, having, yummy food, and
that was always fun.
Just having a great time and joking around, teasing you about your stuff.
Of course.
As always.
That's going to be a shoo-in every year.
Every year. But I miss the interaction, getting the gaming done, learning new stuff, or playing old things that we know we like, getting through our campaign style games, because there was a point, I think this was 2019, where when we finished one Legacy game, we ended up starting Betrayal Legacy. And then after Betrayal Legacy is when we started.
What was it before that?
I can't remember it.
Neither can I. But we played some form of Legacy.
Yeah, like a Legacy or campaign. And then we did Betrayal Legacy. And then we added Rise of Queensdale and started Risk Legacy. And then the pandemic happened. And we were like, we want to play those, but there's other games that we want to get off our shelves and play and learn, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
So, and another thing is I want to get that gaming group get up and running again. This way we can play, like, just hey, we're going to play Twilight Imperium. It's going to be probably the only thing we play today, but let's get it out there.
Yeah. Yep.
Because I got the expansion over there.
And I want to be a part of that one next time.
Yeah. You couldn't make it the last time we played it.
And I promise I will learn how to play it.
Yeah, the big thing of that is everybody should watch the video. And trust me, I have to relearn the game.
Yeah.
I played it that one time. I really enjoyed it so much. So
and I fully expect that you guys are going to destroy me because you already have 100% more experience than me, right?
But yeah,
that's a game
I want to get the gaming group, even if it's only just once a month. I just want it, because when was the last time all of us played together? I want to say it was like maybe
we
June
almost
or
had
July.
A game last month, but
But again, I was dealing with a lot of stuff.
Tricky, yeah. So it's been a couple months.
Yeah, so I want to get our gaming group started up again here soon. Probably in January. When you're hearing this month, I'm going to try to set up something. The only thing is, it's kind of we have to figure out how we're going to do it, because we have to still do our recording schedule.
We'll figure it out. We'll discuss this whole thing afterwards.
And then I'm possibly going to be starting up a second podcast with our friend Gamehead Geek.
Oh, very cool. That's news to me. You heard it here, folks. That's amazing.
And so we've been talking about it. We'll probably start setting that up soon too. So it's just I got to be juggling 2 podcasts and the editing for everything.
Sure. Yeah. Hey, but it'll be all worth it.
We talked about it with him. I think that podcast is going to be twice a month. So
okay, cool, very fun. I'm excited to watch that.
Yeah.
I might even do so. I might even tune in.
Which is funny because you don't even look at ours.
No,
I don't blame you, because we record it, so I don't want to live it again.
Yeah, exactly.
I already got to deal with
discussed this, right? Exactly.
Already, so that was my number 1.
Cool. So that is our 2022 gaming goals. Hopefully, we'll get more this year than last year. I'm sure we will. I'm positive. I'm very confident and optimistic that we will. So we definitely want to thank Illuminus, of course. Thank you for tuning in as well, and anybody else who turned into our live episode. If you ever want to join in on the discussion with our live episodes, we wholeheartedly encourage it. We love interacting with the viewers, and especially as we're filming live, it's always fun. We love to hear your input. So if you want to do so, join us at twitch.tv/everydayboardgames. And please give us a subscribe, so that way you know when we join online. Our schedule does vary from time to time, so get that notification and come join us and chat.
As well as you can always find all video re-uploads on YouTube at Everyday Board Games 2020. And if you like what we do, there are 3 things you can do to help us grow on that platform. Subscribe if you're not. Like the video and comment down below and tell us your thoughts on the subject. As well as all audio versions can be found on most podcast platforms under Everyday Board Games Podcast. This includes Spotify, Google, Amazon Music, and Podbean. And another thing, I want to get us on Apple. It's been a pain in the butt. I do want. That's another goal.
We will find a way. We will find a way. If you ever have any ideas for future episodes or just want to reach out and say hello, you could do so at everydayboardgames2020@gmail.com.
As well as you can also get in contact with us on our official Twitter account at EBG Podcast.
So we want to thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I've been your host, Daniel.
And I've been your host, Daniel.
And we want to thank you for listening to Everyday Board Games.
And remember, every day is a good day for board gaming.